not too dissimilar from the drafts we've been continuing to see. Nocturne has been hitting the table a lot here. Vi, a kind of a mainstay in the jungle. Since you are on blue side, I think Ksante should be the look for BLG unless they don't feel comfortable. But, I mean, you're looking at the last couple of bans. If they don't ban Ksante, then that gets through. TES have the option to also get rid of Vi. So these are the two champions that I'm in particular looking towards.
Yeah, I think both of those champions very, very powerful. Again, Ksante's been banned on blue side in both of these games so far, so I'm just interested to see if BLG continue to match that, or with some of those powerful top lane picks off the board, they go for something different instead. Really targeting top esports jungler here in Kanavi. 3 jungle takeaways here as the Vi is banned in response, and without hesitation, the Ksante locked in on the B1.
So you know, right, that's kind of the gambit that they're willing to go for. You know you're giving up the Ksante. What is TES going to be looking for? We talked about a bit before what the options for 369. Camille was possible. Gnar, again, I talked about it last game. I think that this is really risky, especially with how prevalent lane swaps are. Yeah. So TES need to be able to execute yet again on a really good early strategy.
And I know that jungle pool has already been very, very pinched, and BLG probably want to lock in a jungler here, but I would not maybe even be excited to see something like a Caitlyn Lux or a Caitlyn Elise like we saw from BLG in the series against Weibo come out. Instead, they're going to lock up a comfort pick for Wei here on the Lillia, and we'll see what they round out their composition with going for support. I think a dominant 2v2 to really make 369's life miserable in a potential swap should be the move here for Bilibili Gaming.
Yeah. So, also, kind of with this Leona, you do lower some of the Braum value. I think Braum could also still be perfectly fine. It gives you the kind of snap engage now with this Leona to make that ultimate happen. I'm looking here from BLG. They've got really strong frontline and the ability to kidnap someone with this Ksante ult. But how are they going to empower Wei? And here with this Lillia, I think she's going to have a kind of a tough time playing up against a Poppy and a Gnar. She's mostly going to be fishing with that watch out Eep. So seeing what TES are going to be picking up on the back end of this draft.
And that Poppy certainly a flex, as even though Kanavi could probably play it in the jungle, maybe we are looking for something with a little bit more agency for them. But the flexibility makes BLG maybe hesitant to take away either junglers or supports here in this second phase of bans. So far, Elk has been the target here for top, as the Jhin has already been taken away. That's a great combo that can combine a lot of crowd control with the Leona. Another one that is a classic duo is that Misfortune, where you can ult on top of the Solar Flare and really do some damage. And so it looks like right now, we'll see what the final ban is for BLG, but I really like what BLG have set up with their composition so far.
Yeah, a lot of great frontline. Going to be wondering to see what AD carry, because I think it would definitely shape a lot of the draft. Ashe is up, but that would mean that they were going to need a little bit more damage coming in from specifically the mid lane, which I think Knight will not shy away from. TES, however, they have really great setup for someone like a Varus. I think you can even pick more of a bruiser style, less AD or less setup kind of jungler here for Kanavi. Getting the Shyvana hover, I'm going to hold off before we kind of see this. We have not seen Pantheon from TES, and I really do think that if you're able to grab this, you have so much up front. Yeah, Kanavi's just picking up the Shyvana. Oh my god.
So I imagine this is like the Shojin into hybrid AP-AD build that does a lot of damage, is able to survive a ton as well. This is a bit of a I don't know, a wild card being thrown into top esports composition that is going to likely send the Poppy down to the support position and leave that last pick for Creme. Let's see what BLG want to round out their draft with. Some backline damage here in the Sivir and maybe a little bit of engage or secondary engage with Knight on the Taliyah.
All right, BLG want to play a composition that plays a little bit fast and loose, waiting for that last choice here for Knight. So Taliyah going to provide a lot of crowd control and being able to stop TES on the engage. But what we're getting from top esports here, I think, is really interesting. The Shyvana allows to play, like you were saying, that AP hybrid. She can farm up very fast. She's going to do very well into a composition that doesn't have a ton of crowd control, or being able to kind of stop her from really getting all of those Dragonfire bursts out from her E. And TES, I think they're a little reliant on kind of getting a certain bit of crowd control down.
Yeah.
They have a lot of options to start fights, but they're not like guaranteed ultimates. It's not like a Vi ultimate or something like that. These are all conditional and based on whether or not you can actually land them.
It's a lot of crowd control that you consider to be great secondary engage, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult to find creative angles to find the primary engage with things like a Chain of Corruption, like a stray Ahri charm, or even a flank from Kanavi or 369. But that is what Top Esports is looking for. I think in general the composition scales well, especially if JackeyLove goes towards that more on-hit oriented build. We're on the other side for Bilibili Gaming. A little bit more of a standard draft, I should say, I guess, with of course all of those champions being a band away at this point. And they're going to look to just, I think, play standard and scale into the late game as well.
I think what I'm worried about for BLG is their comp feels not necessarily that is like non-synergistic, but it just feels like, for me anyway, I don't really like the damage profile of their team. I think it takes too long. Sivir is not necessarily like a champion that's going to be able to follow up on the burst or the flip coming in from Taliyah. And here for Top Esports, they have so many options of being able to stop a dive, stop a fight in the 2v2 with the Poppy as well. I think 369 on this Gnar is going to have to be able to provide a lot in terms of the damage, and I want to see what they are able to do to protect the junglers here in this matchup, because both of them need to be able to have their farm, need to be able to get through their clears, and eventually be late game monsters.
Oh man, I'm excited for this one. You talk about momentum, right, Alk? And if Top Esports can take a game here with a unique jungle pick like this Shyvana on red side, go up 2-1 in the series, it would definitely surprise a lot of people and make people's expectations shift ever more slightly towards our theoretical underdogs here going into this series. Bilibili Gaming have dominated TES throughout the last couple of years. They have always been towards the top domestically, especially in recent eras. And that guy Knight wants to make it back to his 7th straight domestic final.
Crazy that he can make 9 this year thanks to the split format that we're going to be having this year. So would be insane, and when unprecedented run when you talk about historically here in the LPL. Definitely contesting for some of the best in the entire region ever. So
and you know the best part?
What's up?
You can say if he misses it that it was just like a Mickey Mouse split. It doesn't count. And you can just go next split if you're a BLG fan. Yeah, you know?
Yep. Yep.
I know that people
you can say they weren't trying, you know,
yeah.
they're farming for MSI. I get it.
So that's the cope. If you're a BLG fan, that's the cope that you can draft a tweet right now, just in case the series goes awry or any of the other ones that go later on. If you are a bit of a night coper, but we are hoping that BLG make this a competitive series and continue to play their top-tier League of Legends as we start off the early jungle clear. Once again, lane swap has been set up this time. Once again, BLG, the ones to arrange for it, and at this time it makes a lot of sense given that the Ksante is able to survive a little bit easier than the Gnar early on.
And this is what I was talking about. We need to see what 369 and how he's able to survive here on the Gnar. Instead of going to the top side, he goes, you know what? My jungler is also pathing away from me, and it's a Shyvana, so she's not going to be able to really provide all that much crowd control pre-6, so I'm just going to go help my mid laner. I'm going to try and get as much wave prior. Oh, wait a minute. Because of the phase rush proc, Knight actually got accelerated to move forward into his opponent, so losing a lot more HP than necessarily he was hoping for, and that kind of puts him in a bit of a dangerous spot. The next time the Electrocute is back off of cooldown, Creme can look to kind of force Knight out of this lane.
Teleport is available here for Knight as well, but that's what you can do with the fact that you are being swapped on. Now this Gnar can roam down to the bottom lane and make Bin's life even more miserable than it already has been. He's picked up 0 CS so far, and they want to try to keep it that way here as they're going for a potential dive. Bin has unlocked level 2, though. That could provide a little bit of extra utility. Stun does not land here from Chris, and he's able to flash away, use that Pathmaker for a little bit of extra sustain.
Wow, small bit oh my god, there's a minion hitting him! Minions!
Okay, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine.
Dude, okay, look, all I was saying is it's obviously a BLG minion because it's a blue side minion, but very dangerous. I don't think Bin was expecting for the Poppy crash to happen at that moment, so that's why he didn't use the W. Otherwise, just expect him to do it. He's been a player that's really been good at being able to hold his composure. Oh my god, don't tell me after the late, don't tell me after what just happened that Creme's about to get soloed like this.
Okay, nice flash from Creme to get under the wave, make sure that doesn't become a problem. Now Kanavi is here to try and follow up, but a nice seismic shove away from Knight will make sure that there is no damage that can be dealt on top of him.
Yep. And Knight even gets kind of a small time to be able to recall here since he just dropped basically like his entire mana bar after teleporting. So I think the mid lanes are going to be feeling quite even. Knight, although he is up the flash, is definitely going to be feeling a lot safer for the time being. As finally Gnar gets to be able to hit a minion wave. And during all of this, Wei is kind of fine, although I will say Kanavi is going to be a lot faster and is already onto his respawn raptors, as you see both of our junglers even starting that.
For Kanavi on the Shyvana, you have to basically power farm until level 6. Your ganks are not very powerful, 0 crowd control until you unlock that aspect of the dragon. You can go in and really become a big menace here in some of these ganks. So for now, it looks like top esports going to have to play a little bit more defensively before Kanavi really gets online, but it seems like they are comfortable with that. 369 taking a little bit of a beating, though, right now in the bottom lane.
Ooh, Wei is here as well. I wonder if they're going to maybe look for something with this wave crashing, but I expect that this Lillia is wanting to get a reset in, get your gold, spend it as well for both of our junglers here. As minute and 15 before the grub spawn, BLG and TES are not willing. They want to trade every little bit of HP, every bit of ground here to make sure that they can get the top side priority and they can set up and make sure that they're getting recalls. But JackeyLove's already taken his first, and he's got a longsword in the advantage. Plus, he still has all of these pots, so he can stay a little bit longer and really force the Sivir who's running out of mana.
Yeah, trade-off is JackeyLove down a little bit in CS, and right now with BLG having that 200 gold that you saw in that lower third, right now you guys, the Twitch chat, has BLG as the favorites by 70 to 30, I think the margin was. You can make sure to use that poll in the future as well, as we'll be being able to showcase that on stream as we continue along in the Split 1 playoffs. Resets coming through here for top esports, as they will look to potentially set up around these grubs. I don't think Kanavi will hit level 6 by the time that they spawn, unless something crazy happens. And also, with having that Shyvana passive, the dragon, maybe even more important here if you're top.
It's so minor. They really need to change Shyvana to give her more meaningful buffs for actually taking dragons, because I swear this passive is one of the most useless in the game. Somehow NASA still has a better passive than she does, but that's just me. Maybe I'm just a Shyvana hater. I like this champion, but I've seen way too many AP Shyvanas hit me from 750 range, and half of my HP bar is gone for no reason. So.
But the passive, though, the passive is useless, is what you're saying.
I hate the passive. They need to. They've already reworked this thing like twice now, so we just give her something. Maybe there's a mid play here. Crisp is available. Kanavi has hit level 6.
Does have that ultimate to use, and Knight has to burn the flash out of respect as Creme throws out the charm. The trade, of course, will be the 3 grubs for BLG. It's one of those games now with the Shyvana in the game that an early dragon is actually taken, and so that is the trade that has been made. As we take a look at this lower third as well. First game played of Shyvana this entire split, despite the fact that we've had Fearless, is a bit of an impressive feat.
Yeah, Shyvana's always been a bit of a rare bird, especially when it comes to draft. And I mean, yesterday we had the Shen juggle coming in from Tarzan, despite I think some of the results around it. But we're getting some unique picks. It's taken a little bit for LPL to really kind of catch on to some of the Fearless stuff. Obviously, as we've gone further into best of 5, some weird, wacky stuff has occurred. But I think LCK has definitely been the better region when it comes to kind of leveraging what you can do in a Fearless draft. But as we get back into this game, not many objectives to play for. We're also seeing that right now BLG are kind of playing constant rotation. They want to make sure that they're pushing the waves, leveraging Sivir's ability to basically delete a minion wave very early on. And now they're forcing Bin to immediately go back towards the bottom side, maybe even wanting to help get this Gnar underneath the turret and try to get some early vision to scout out Kanavi.
Take a look right around the gold as well in this situation. The biggest advantage right now in terms of any of the lanes is actually towards Elk on the Sivir, who has had a bit of an easier time maneuvering this lane swap against the Gnar, versus JackeyLove on the Varus, who is slightly down right now in terms of gold. Not too much, all things considered, but it just goes to show that the resources that BLG have put into this lane swap this time around have worked much better than they did in game number 2, for instance, where everything fell apart in the first couple minutes.
You can also see that TS are getting led around the map at this point. Part of the reason why he's behind in CS is because BLG is constantly swapping. So Bin is going to take this bottom wave, recall, and they're going to swap again. Yep. So they are really trying to pull them across the map. They do not want to play into this into this Varus lane. And as long as they're able to do this, I want to see what the effect of this is for BLG aside from a minor CS advantage, because as this goes on, as they continue to do this, they're going to kind of trying to be playing on opposite sides of the map. the second set of grubs is spawning in a minute and a half. If they can get a good push on the opposite side, then there's some angles potentially for them to either go for the cross map or contest for trying to pick up more plates, because they haven't really been able to hit on any of these turrets. Same thing with their opponent.
I think we might see even more of a split map, even like added on top of it with the lane swap, because of the fact that top esports want to prioritize these dragons, you know, with the Shyvana. As maybe as useless of a passive as you think it is, or you're claiming that it is, it's still something that I think a lot of teams that pick Shyvana, you know, consider when they, you know, draft out their early game plan and things like that. So with that spawning in about 2 minutes, it does leave a little bit of a gap here for top to potentially contest for these grubs. While you do, of course, want to prioritize the drakes, it's never good to give away 6 grubs to your opponent.
All right, I've done some research. I want to make sure that I'm up on my game and that I'm a ball knower. I've read Shyvana's passive again. The first half of this, I wish I could just take like a black expo marker and just cross it out. The second half is cool, dealing a 20% flat increased damage to dragons.
Yeah, you saw
cool.
he bursted that pretty fast.
Yeah, and you know, maybe that's something that actually comes into effect later, but yeah. Aside, I'm going to move away from this where we've talked. I think we've talked way too much about Shyvana passive. The fact that it's in this game to begin with is enough for me. Yeah. So we see it again. They take a single bottom lane wave, they send it over, and instead of matching it, TES send JackeyLove and Chris towards the mid lane. They're trying to grab some mid priority so they can set up for these grubs. And already the vision is starting to get contested. A lot of it more focused for BLG on the top side of the river, while TES are trying to control around the mid lane. And now we're getting the teleports coming in from Creme, who has just now finished Malignance.
6 grubs for BLG would be huge, especially with the slight early advantage that they have built up right now. Kanavi does not want to let that happen. Does not secure that first smite, so now it is immediately a 4 versus 2. There comes the Poppy ult, it knocks away on, and here comes Kanavi. He smites away one that prevents the 6 grubs. 369. Getting closer and closer to Mega. Will Top Esports pull the trigger? Bin, he yeets Crisp away from the rest of the fight, but now Top Esports might have an opportunity here in the 4v4 without Bin in the area. The second grub is secured, but now Bin can collapse. He's got himself a decent flank opportunity, and 369 is potentially isolated. Nice wall up to prevent any extra damage from connecting, and Top will escape with their lives.
The fact that they get 2 grubs there, and they'll be even able to play for this dragon, I think is a big win for TES, as BLG were not able to get much done in that fight, and even lose 3 of their summoner spells. So look at this, a plate here for JackeyLove, having to invest the teleport from this Taliyah. A great opener for TES in this one, where some of the we haven't seen much fighting come in, but I felt a little sloppy from both of our teams. I mean, Creme missing the ultimate, or missing the charm without using his ultimate, felt a little bit weird. Poppy being able to knock away on it kind of stopped BLG from being able to extend more into that play.
Yeah, and you know, with that extra dragon damage, able to pick that second one up. And that is 2 of the 3 feats of strength in terms of the objectives right now going towards Top Esports. They have that going for them, as well as the fact that their composition scales very well. We didn't necessarily hit on this, but JackeyLove has opted for the on-hit build. Will allow for them to have a very solid mixed damage profile against the tanks of BLG. Will force them to itemize in different, more unique ways. And especially as we get later on into the game, that will become more and more important. Now bottom lane. The focus here for BLG is approaching Gnar, has not hit, or sorry, 369 is approaching Gnar, has not gotten there just yet. Could be targeted here right now as 4 members are looking to collapse here on the spot tier 1.
He has the ultimate. He also has the flash. Poppy's on their way as well. This play needs to turn into more gold here for BLG, and the fact that they're not able to find most or even a summoner spell means that you're just allowing free time for JackeyLove and even Creme now in the top side. So BLG not being able to fire on this play is starting to kind of run rampant for TES in terms of an advantage here. How much more gold can Elkanon really squeeze from this turret? Maybe one more plate and maybe you start to feel a little even, but I think TES doing well, which from a lane swap position where they were kind of getting lost around the map a little.
Yeah, so after all that, it looks like a lot of the resources that BLG sent down there did not end up paying off, as they're going to at least get a couple of plates, try to burst down this tower. So looks like Crisp and 369 are ready to try to contest and fight for this if it ends up getting to that point. Nice job of them to clear the wave out. I think the biggest thing they want to do is try to prevent this tower from going down before the plates end up dropping. That will give a little bit of extra gold over to BLG. But now Way's here as well. It's going to be matched here by Kanavi around the blue buff. And that might be enough to seed over this tier 1 to BLG a little bit earlier.
This is a big mid wave that's also being missed by TS. 369 is going to have to go and cover it.
Okay, here comes Kanavi with the ultimate. And it looks like the Keeper's Verdict just going to knock away on. And that'll be enough here for BLG to secure the first tower of the game. With all the pressure that they have exerted towards the bottom lane, it finally goes their way, as Elk is very, very powerful and very rich in this game number 3.
The ultimates coming out from JackeyLove and Kanavi not in sync there, so if they were able to lock up Way, that opens them up so much to not only prevent the turret there from falling, but then you can start to put down vision. You can even move over into the top side and get vision for this upcoming Herald that's going to spawn in a minute and a half. I think TES, you know, the fact that no one's died is really impressive, but we are looking at some of those carries, and, you know, so far this series has started to come down to Elk and JackeyLove individually, but Elk right now, almost 1,000 gold over his counterpart, and he's going to be having those item completions. If he gets to 3 and 4 items, while he's not going the on-hit build like JackeyLove, he's not going to be as tanky as something like a Varus. This Sivir, in terms of hyper carry potential and how low range this TES composition can be, it's going to be very dangerous to deal with.
Absolutely, and that is where top esports have to be a little bit concerned as they go forward in this one. You know, a champion like Kanavi on the Shyvana can try to dive on top of the Sivir, but there's a lot of tools at Elk's disposal to make sure that that dive does not become as impactful. Not only is he super rich, but also has a cleanse, has a spell shield, and has a ton of peel options on top of him, with Bin and On being able to generate a lot of space. And right now, BLG are really dominating these side waves here. They're going to pick up potentially their second tier 1 turret, but top esports want to prevent that from happening. They send a teleport from Creme up to try and defend this, and it immediately has to flash away, given the collapse that has been pushed upon him. But he lands a charm on tonight and forces the Taliyah to flash away. Nobody has fallen so far in this fight, as all 5 members of top esports have gathered around the top lane. And that will just be it in terms of an engage, in terms of a skirmish, as top esports will save their tier 1 for now, but BLG utilize a lot and get a ton of resources away from them.
They're going to have to reset, and because there's also the Hex Tech portals here, we can make a fast play now coming in for both teams. Herald is spawning. Way is already on this objective, but it seems like TES, they are more focused on getting this dragon. They are 2 dragons deep right now. A third will put them on Soul, and I think they're realizing that while they can try to go to late game, I think having the Dragon Soul, getting all of those stacks for the Shyvana passive is going to be a big boon for them as we head later and later into this game.
Yeah, Bin just able to take that tower anyway after top esports used the teleport from Creme, as well as a ton of other resources to try and prevent that from happening. And in the meantime, Way is going to pick up the Rift Herald as well. So the top side of the map right now belongs to BLG, and despite the fact that we have not gotten a kill in the first 16.5 minutes of this third game, it's BLG with over a 2,000 gold lead, and top esports are going to have to make something happen on the other side of the map in order to even things up.
They are fighting for mid control constantly. They even summon the Rift Herald here.
Really nice steadfast presence from Chris to prevent that Zenith Blade from going forward. On, force the flash defensively to head right back to the mid lane where the Rift Herald has been procced. If it lands a charge, would almost certainly mean that third outer going down. Solar Flare does connect onto Kanavi, who is forced all the way, but he lands the fadeaway and will pick up first blood for top. Now, the Lilting Lullaby will land onto 2, but a really nice Keeper's Verdict prevents from any follow-up from happening. Bin now going all out onto Creme, but he has to flash away from another charm connecting top esports, winning out on that skirmish, and they have the numbers advantage for this third dragon.
They don't have any ultimates on the side of BLG, so they can't make the contest. Way and Bin trying to walk into River, get whatever kind of damage they can, but this is going to be very deep from BLG. They're cutting the mid wave high. They have a huge minion wave, and they'll be able to grab 2 turrets during this play. So short term, getting a lot of gold for themselves, but long term now on soul points. So every 5 minutes, they need to be in an advantageous state on the dragon and making sure they can keep TES away from this objective.
Yeah, BLG heavily indexing on, you know, going for the standing gold, getting those turrets, and for now, it's going to help them out as they continue to have an over 2,500 gold lead. But top esports, as you mentioned here, Alk, have that scaling in their favor now with the potential for picking up that Hex Tech Soul. They can now force fights at their will as Creme going for a potential flank here with that Hex Gate. Thought he might have gone a little bit too far forward, but Knight and Way a little bit too scared to go for the fight, and so instead, it'll just be them pushing away as we get another look here at this one.
I just think this is really adventurous from On. Like, we're going into Shyvana. Yes, you're going to force her ultimate, but Bin's not quite in the area. Elk was too far away from this play, and then this ultimate from Chris right before he gets slept. Just so clean, and oh my god, the fact that Knight does not find that flick just continues to kind of add on to the misfortunes of that team fight right there. So TES, again, find themselves at a small goal disadvantage, but I think it is negligible for where we are in the game. And again, that soul point is going to be so dangerous to deal with. What I'm going to be looking at here coming into this next fight is some of the item completions and how BLG are setting up the map to be able to play around this objective.
We were just praising Chris, and he might have gotten himself caught out as Elk will pick up that kill. Even things up at 1-1. Now JackeyLove potentially in some trouble, forcing way to go golden though as Kanavi has jumped in. Teleport on the way. It will be Bin joining the fray. JackeyLove flashes away from the Pathmaker, still trying to kite, but the all-out will come through, and BLG will win a fight of their own. 369 gets stunned up in Mega Gnar form, and with all 5 members of BLG in the bottom side river, they will be able to pick up 4.
15 seconds before the Otacon, I wanted to talk about how with Dragon spawning around the same area as Otacon, this buff is going to go over into that Dragon spawning in 2.5 minutes. So BLG not only find themselves the first 3 kills, they'll grant themselves feats of strength, and they win a pretty big team fight that starts with Crisp getting caught out. So far in this series, Elk has proven to be just the better AD carry so far in this series. I mean, he is stepping up, he has no fear in a lot of these fights, and I think his consistency is really starting to get the better of TES. As we see in this fight, he is not afraid. He is continuously auto-attacking onto Kanavi, multiple summoner spells now gone from TES during this play, and they had committed to try to salvage it, but it is not enough for TES.
A really, really nice fight opened up, and man, I was just about to praise Chris for how well he was playing the early parts of that game, utilizing the ultimate on the Poppy to perfection, but gets caught out there, and the rest of the team kind of follows suit, allowing for BLG to continue to add to their gold lead. And we were saying like 2,000 could be okay. Now the lead is 4K, and with the Otacon buff in their hands, BLG unrelenting in their aggression. A 2-man seismic shove comes through from Knight, and it locks down JackeyLove and takes him down. Already it's a 2-0, and Chris will be the third. One more auto for On should do the deed, but he will be able to escape here with the steadfast presence. But BLG have their foot on the gas, and they are not letting go.
This game went from resident sleeper, nothing happened too much in the game for 15 minutes, into explosive action coming in from BLG. Now they're using the entire map here against TES. They still have all of these Otacons. Before that play, while we were in the replay, TES were actually able to grab a turret in top lane tier 1. That was thanks to Creme. But now they've lost out on so much. More of these grubs from BLG are going to explode the structures and make it almost impossible for TES to come back at this point. We're 21.5 minutes, almost 22, and it is a almost 7,000 gold lead when you look at items and gold disparities between members here. As we're going to look at the start of this fight, I mean, Bin's already on the flank over. Taliyah can make his way here. This is just a bad fight for TES. They are not set up and in position to take a fight like this.
And Kanavi barely was unable to get that ultimate timer up in time, and a really nice engage from Knight on the back end of things there as well, flashing over the Raptor pit to find the kill onto JackeyLove. And things are looking a little bit grim here for Top Esports now. Gold lead over 5K in BLG's favor, and they will still have those revives for when the dragon spawns in 10 seconds. That soul at 23 minutes is no longer a win condition for them.
Something I want to note here is while TES can fight back in this spot, I'm looking at those summoner spells for Knight and Elk. Knight actually using it to get into the Raptor pit to make that play onto TES, but now he won't have that available to him, and it makes it very difficult for TES, because even if they find a kill onto someone like Knight, he can just ult over. He also has the Hextech portals as well, so has to be very quick for TES, and they are going to just try to make the cross-map play. Recognizing we can't contest for Dragon, let's try to take as many turrets as possible to try to alleviate some of the gold differential.
I'm a little surprised they don't have the bounties at this point, but I guess with the Dragon lead, like, that also goes into account. So still a big chunk of gold going Top Esports' way. Any little bit is going to help them, as now Chain of Corruption does connect onto way, but it's just, I think, in regards to doing a little bit of peel, as JackeyLove not nearly in the position to go for that fight. Meanwhile, looks like maybe Creme has been caught out here, as Honest found another engage, forcing the ultimate. So no Spirit Rush going to be available for the next little bit here for Top.
That was very, very nicely played by Creme. Gets right out of that, slips underneath the stun coming out from Leona, so he's able to survive for the time being. And this kind of starts to become a position where it gets from bad to worse for someone like Kanavi. He needs to be very creative with where he's allowed to find CS, where he's able to find jungle camps. For the time being, BLG have not really been able to take too many camps, but as more and more of these structures fall, as BLG continue to move their minion or their vision lineup, these camps are going to start to get taken away, and that's going to be the part where Wei is going to find maybe an extra third item over his opponent. Kanavi has just now finished the Leandries, so this is about the part of the game. Maybe once JackeyLove has finished the Rage Blade, which he has here, I think TS are going to feel comfortable, and they have to recognize they need to be able to fight. Baron spawning in 40, maybe they can try to leverage this into a fight and win themselves back into this game.
It's going to be tough, though, although we have hit some nice item spikes, specifically Kanavi picking up that Leandries for a little bit of extra damage, but now 369 going to be the target, has to flash away from the seismic shove of Knight. Make sure he does not go down early and get picked off here for top esports. BLG still have a lot of pressure, but the gold lead has maintained at around 4,000 to 5,000 since that last fight around the Otacon.
Kanavi's trying to find something. He needs to find experience in particular anywhere he can right now. Maybe him and Creme can find something. Yeah, Creme.
Okay, wait. There comes the charm. Cleansed away from Kanavi. Going to follow up here with the ultimate, but a really nice spell shield from Elk will leave him untouched in the backline. Kanavi going to go down. It's going to be Creme going down as well, and now it's a 3v4 in favor of BLG, but the health bars are on top esports' side. Be careful, 369 could jump in to try to find a bit of a Mega Gnar. Here comes Wei, lands a lilting lullaby, will be cleansed away from JackeyLove. He'll still be alive for now, and now it has been dashing in onto the Gnar, who is lowering his health bar. He has to yeet Bin away, but Knight will find his mark and take down his former teammate on top esports. Chris will fall as well as BLG find yet another fight.
4 grubs, maybe they can look for mid. It seems like they're just going to go for a recall on some of their members, take some portals, and get the Baron here. Another fantastic team fight as on this time around. Okay, maybe the Blitzcrank game was him, you know, maybe getting his lick back on some other plays that happened some other series. This time around, it feels like he is on point. On is definitely here to play with this Leona and setting up his team. This bot lane duo for BLG is providing the wins that they need to bring them to the next match tomorrow in the semifinals.
And look how well this is played by Elk. Pretty quick cleanse, then the spell shield to get away from the knock back here from the Shyvana, and then he is out scot-free.
I just love the amount of space that On is providing. He also recognizes that he needs to kind of play with his HP bar, play to block some of the members of TES. This game feels so difficult right now for the side of top esports. It's the flash invested by Wei, but 369 is just barely able. He has not been able to have enough of an influence. We have not seen those big Mega Gnar team fights coming in, and just now they're all scattered to the wind. BLG, they did lose some of their summoner spells, but that was the part of the game that we wanted to see them really come online. This was the item spike. This is about as powerful as you're going to get without BLG slamming the door in front of you. And now, 3 item Sivir. We're probably not seeing another item for either Kanavi or JackeyLove, so it now falls upon, can we get a proper team fight with a Gnar involved? Does Creme finish a Rabadon's next? Can we find some cheeky plays around the map in Fog of War? Otherwise, we're looking at another 29-minute victory here in Game 3 for BLG.
I mean, even if those item spikes are hit, Alk, I feel like this is very hard for top esports to play with just the amount of gold that BLG have in the lead. It's almost 9,000 at this point. 3.5 items, nearly a fourth with that Infinity Edge nearly completed here for Elk. But top esports, they're going to have to make something happen quickly if they want to stay alive here in this game. Elk currently just face tanking all the damage from Creme, and the Weaver's Wall is actually going to cut the Ahri off and put him in a precarious situation. That'll be the tier 3 going down, and most likely the inhibitor in the bottom lane as well. You have to take a look at 369 though. He's pushing onto this top lane, tier 3. Not going to be able to take down that turret just yet, but now Kanavi and the rest of top esports want to play the cancel backs game. They're going to be able to do a decent job of that with the Flame Breath, and a flank could potentially be in play. One has come back to try to stop 369, and this could be top esports' opportunity. Wei already down to less than 1,000 HP. Keeper's Verdict not doing too much, and top want to continue the collapse. Creme needs to find another engage, another charm onto a priority target, but now he will not be able to, as the rest of BLG are able to back away. But this means that top esports can start up this dragon, and it will be the Hextech Soul if it goes to them.
369 needs to be careful. He has very close to being able to have Mega Gnar, and it's down. That'll be
That's
the
the
Hextech Soul.
Can they get away now without a fight? Flash away here from JackeyLove already as Bin pops the all out, but it will be flashed in response. Looks like Chris is going to be the sacrifice as Wei will take him down to make it 11-1. But Top Esports got what they wanted. They denied anything more than an inhibitor off the Baron push, and they pick up the Hextech Soul.
Didn't lose all that much on the map either. Like you were saying, they lose out on Chris, but the fact is they get Hextech Soul, and they're able to open up at least the top lane inhibitor, potentially for them to be able to play. But I'll be honest, 9,000 gold. Is Hextech Soul going to be enough to be able to kind of assuage the bleeding? I don't think it is, man. I think that they are still too far behind. They have not enough damage as well. Maybe if they find some kind of flank, but I mean, look at Elk right now, dude. He has 4 items. This guy feels impenetrable in this game. He is unmovable on this Sivir, and we saw it a little bit in that first Ezreal game. Feels like Elk and On have definitely leveled up their consistency and are now playing with kind of the level of execution that we saw from them just last year.
Yeah, it seems like on this team, like sometimes Elk and On are slept on a little bit just because of the big star power on the top side of the map, but make no mistake, this is one of the best bot lanes in the world, and they're showing it right here as they break open this mid lane inhibitor. We'll take that one down as well. So now, it looks like Top Esports on the clock a little bit. They're going to have to defend for the next 5 minutes or so with super minions pouring into their base. That will be a timer for BLG to pick up another Baron. And for Top, it's all about finding picks at this point in the game. They land a charm here on to On. The Hextech Soul going to do a little bit of extra damage in terms of helping them out with the poke. But now Top Esports want to try to finish this one off. They want to try to finish off the siege of the Top Esports base. Elk spell shields away from that charm. And now a teleport comes in. 369 is Mega Gnar. The Keeper's Verdict knocks away 2. This is absolutely Top Esports' opportunity. If they can try to find the Gnar, Elk is stunned, Elk is walloped, and Elk is still alive.
He's alive!
He pops the shield. He will not fall. And the rest of BLG are here to collapse upon their AD carry and make sure that he lives.
What an insane fight! I feel so bad for 369, but Elk lives. What? We need to get that replay. Get that replay spun up right now. Oh my god. That is a heartbreaker. I was just about to applaud TES because they held on during that Baron play by denying the recalls around that bot lane inhibitor. They kind of bought themselves some time. They played the cross map very, very well. And now we get to see this. This was such a good setup. I think the Hextech Soul really allows for TES to get rid of minion waves very quickly. And now they know Elk has no spell shield. Alongside this Keeper's Verdict, this should have been the play. I want to see what exactly happens. I mean, Creme, he uses the single dodge. He needs to at least be in range to deal damage onto Elk. But so much focus onto Wei during all of this means that 369 is not able to find the AD carry of Bilibili Gaming. And that just means that BLG will continue their lead. 8,000 gold, 25 seconds before this Baron. Feels like it's still tough here for TS, but they are holding on, and they're starting to get to some of those 3 item spikes that start to make this game a little more difficult.
Hey man, you have to give credit to 369 though. He did everything he could. He maximized the damage output that he could get onto Elk, but it was actually Bin coming to the rescue there. That E-shield keeping Elk alive. Now the ultimate has been popped from Kanavi. The poke with the Flame Breath plus the Hextech Soul could be big in terms of chunking out BLG before they make their way towards the second Baron. And this actually allows for Top Esports to potentially get this priority in the mid lane and eventually make their way to breaking open this mid lane tier 1 turret. But it looks like Elk is going to be able to heal up rather nicely. And with that ultimate soon to expire here on Kanavi, this is now BLG's timer to start up the Baron.
Okay, Knight teleports into the mid lane wave. 369 still has a little bit ways to go before he can have Mega Gnar. It'll be stacked up quite nicely.
Oh, it splits
Knight's
up 3.
cutting him off.
That's a huge Weaver's Wall. It's only going to knock the Seismic Shove in on to Chris. He will get taken down first, but Creme and the rest of Top Esports are able to escape, and the Baron buff has been reset. The monster going to have to be started up again. It gives Kanavi a little bit more time to try to farm up more Fury, but instead they're going to pull away and allow for that big purple worm to go in hands of BLG.
What I want to see from Top Esports now is you need to have so much push on this side lane. I want to see Kanavi and 369 work together to push this wave, catch the next one as well, because upcoming in a minute and a half is going to be the Elder Dragon. I want to see them on the objective a little bit beforehand. If they can get there 30 seconds before, clear out the vision from BLG, then we have a fight on our hands. They have a Hextech Soul. In most cases, that should be enough for you to get back into this game. But right now, BLG are team fighting better. TES do not seem like they have a clear objective as to how they want to be able to play these fights, but they have gold, they have their items as well. This has to be kind of the pinnacle of their power if they want a chance back into this one. It's 10,000 gold. Usually every game is over by this point.
I know, it's crazy that we're 33 minutes in, Top Esports has 2 kills, and yet we're still playing the what-if game because of the fact that they claimed that soul and the Elder responding in 40 seconds, but they're going to have to withstand this Baron push for now. Bot lane inhibitor surely going to drop. And then the play is what's next. Really nice ultimate from On. It forces the cleanse from JackeyLove. That means a lilting lullaby coming out from Wei could mean the Varus' doom in the long run over an extended team fight. 369 trying to push this mid lane wave, save it from crashing into the enemy base. And with that will be enough for BLG to back away. They know that they can go here for the Elder Dragon, but 369 might be going a little bit too far forward here without the rest of his team, as he has to now back away. Swirl Seed lands onto JackeyLove. They don't want to proc the ultimate just yet. Until they do, here comes the sleep. The bin and Tofo Strike does not connect, but will it be enough to still take JackeyLove down? That's a lot of on-hit damage on the Varus, and bin will fall. That's a shutdown going towards JackeyLove. Now Kanavi has proc the ultimate. Will be able to do a ton of damage now in a 4v5. The charm lands onto On. Top Esports, somehow, some way, are going to try to come back in this game. Elk is down. It's a double kill in for Creme, and they are going to wipe the floor with BLG.
How can Top keep winning these fights? Bin goes too far. So much denial from Chris.
No way.
How can they end? I mean, there's still too many turrets. And look at these minions. 4 minions, a lot of them half HP. Who has to tank this? Chris is going to go first. It's going to buy a little bit of time. How much can they get here? Still long death timers here for for BLG.
I mean, it's just going to be Bin and On respawning in 10 seconds. The rest of the main carries are 20 to 30 seconds away. Top Esports are going for the throw. They're going for it now. They're on to the Nexus turrets. How fast can they burst them down? Kanavi procs the ult. On, trying to clear the wave to try to save the game. But the Nexus is exposed. And Top Esports, they complete the comeback of all comebacks and take match point against BLG.
10,000 gold, and they're still down in gold at the end of it. Oh my god, TES! Maybe game 1 was the anomaly here, and now we are at match point with our incoming champions from last year, BLG, on match point and elimination game.
My god, we were writing up the formalities for BLG. They have taken us to match point. They're going to be up in the series. And then it was one fight, and it was an over-indexing from Bin on the Ksante. He misses the Antofo strikes onto a still sleeping JackeyLove. And then after that, that is one pick. Kanavi's able to find the flank. Suddenly they have a numbers advantage here, Alk. And Top Esports, they found the one opportunity that they had to potentially take that fight, and they grabbed it by the hands and yanked it right back into their side. My god, what a game.
Man. Like, Chris provided so much. Stops the Ksante from really getting on top of JackeyLove. And, I mean, they did it, man. Like, if real quick, can we get our predictions for the day from from the production team and the broadcast here from LPL English? Because,
hey, we're both wrong already.
We're both wrong already. Only 2 people thought that this series was going to go to 5. Only 2 people saw TES taking 2 games. Mazel and Rude Dude. Rude is the only person who thought TES were going to win. Discord, for the fans here on LPL English, saw BLG winning this. A majority of us here on the show thought BLG were going to win this. And now we're in a situation where they have to win the next 2 games.
And I could not be any more excited than I am right now for the rest of this one and how it can unfold. Top Esports winning a game on a red side after they were down 10,000 gold to BLG, who has just been an absolute monster, a stalwart in the LPL and in international play as well here, Alk. I mean, it's pretty incredible what just happened right now. And this is a Top Esports team that we, again, said were the underdogs coming in, have always been the underdogs against BLG, at least in recent years. And they shut all those narratives down, man.
Yet. They still can. BLG can still
That's
win
true.
this series. I don't want to be a BLG Coper, but
at least it's now a competitive series. Like, even if Top Esports lose, they say we took BLG to 5. We were able to come back and things like that. We know, though, that that is not what they want. They want even more than that. They want a trip to the finals.
And for TES, again, they made these changes. They swapped out Tien. They swapped out Mako to try to make this team work a little bit better than it did last year. Last year, they had high aspirations. They weren't able to bring home a trophy. They weren't able to go very far in a lot of the international tournament competitions, but they're hopeful that this year, with this lineup, with bringing over a general in Kanavi from JDG, with bringing over Crisp and his level of experience, that hopefully this lineup, this iteration of the TES roster is going to bring home trophies. JackeyLove has been on this lineup for 5 years now and has not been able to bring a trophy aside from when he initially joined. I think there's still a lot of series to play. Even if they win today, they have to play against JDG tomorrow and then, you know, make it to grand finals and beat AL there, who are their own demons for that matchup. So I'll save that for then, but there is a lot of work still to be done here, and we're only in game number 4.
Look at the gold graph right now. Oh my god.
It's still even. They were down 2,000 gold at the end of the game.
But it's what they were able to do with the soul. It's what they were able to do with just finding picks. And honestly, if I had to give an MVP, I'm leaning towards Crisp a little bit here just because of the engage that he was able to find and things like that. He was not necessarily the most impactful on that final play, but he did so much to keep Top Esports barely in the game from start to finish as we take a look at some highlights.
I think all of the keeper's verdicts as well. It's unfortunate that Crisp kind of definitely played his HP bar a little too close to the sun, but it's part of what this Poppy's able to accomplish, and I think a lot of this highlight reel is going to be showing all of those keeper's verdicts. I think it stalls out the game so well, and BLG are going to be looking at that last team fight and asking for a do-over. They want to just pour over that, and you don't have time. You got to get into that next game.
I mean, we're going to see the replay again, but I'm just, like, that is such a big mistake from a player like Bin, who we know to be the most consistent player almost in the world. A rare mistake. I know, like, this is not something that normally happens. Even on something like Ksante, it was just a point-blank Q3 onto a stun target that was missed that could have definitely resulted in JackeyLove going down in that play. Instead, it results in Bin going down. Get some more looks at just how BLG were able to win early on in this game. I will say Knight played a great one on the Taliyah, forcing so much pressure, but in the end, it wasn't enough.
And we're getting excited because there's a lot of historical precedent here for TES if they're able to win this series against BLG. Obviously, it's an elimination game, but we have to remember, BLG, the first 15 minutes of this game, not much was happening. I think BLG was gaining minor advantages by playing lanes and allocations very, very smart. But most of this game was a BLG victory. We were setting up for, hey, BLG are going to win. They may have lost a soul, but you're 10,000 gold up. You're knocking on Nexus turrets. This should have been their game. So I think BLG need to kind of, they're a team that has had the ability to have the high highs of going very deep into series, especially with higher stakes than this. This is domestic play. We're not getting as like hyphy as like a game 5 in like a grand finals, the grand finals of a world championship, but BLG are probably going to have to kind of tap in and hone in, lock, I don't want to use it, but lock in now, boys.
Yeah, I mean, they got to.
You got to do it. Like, this is the last fight here.
Yeah.
So Sleep, keeper's verdict, gets the CC, him and Creme, man. They paid forward whatever, all the sins that they had for this entire game, and they made it count.
And what a huge collapse. Creme, I think, playing the last couple fights rather admirably as well, landing some really crucial charms, proccing spell shields, but it was just a big collapse from all of Top Esports after that initial catch on to Bin. And that was a situation here, Alk, where BLG, if they wanted to, they could have just forced JackeyLove back to base, picked up the Elder Dragon, and then likely have won the game from there with that execute buff in their hands. But instead, they go a little bit too close to the sun, they get a little bit too aggressive, and now they find themselves at match point against them. I mean, how do you even recover from a game like that? Must be very, very hard.
Dude, this Shyvana was useless the whole game! This is not my fault!
It was the soul. And then he had the collapse as well and at the end of the fight.
Wow, he got 25 extra armor and magic resist! That is what saved the game, everybody.
Could have been the difference. Could have been the difference. Who knows? Hey, that fight against Jackie was a little close. That was all I say. If you are BLG going into this game 4, you're back on the blue side. Like, it must be very, very difficult to visualize how to rebound from something like this. As we get our player of the game actually going to go to Creme again. I'm guessing it's just off of that last fight because I feel like he was a little bit more on the quieter side, like for the rest of it. But he had 100% kill participation. Hey, nice job to Creme.
I'm just gonna be a hater, dog. 100% KP in a 36-minute game, and it's 7. It's 7.
They won the game 13-7 against them, as Top Esports are just now one map away from making a play towards the lower bracket finals of the LPL split #1. A matchup against JDG to go into the grand finals, have that chance to get into the first stand tournament. Will BLG be able to stop that and force a game 5? We'll find out right after this break.